Hello and good evening. Right, let's have a look and see what is happening tonight. It's Tuesday and it's Technique Tuesday. And boy, did I have trouble in thinking, what shall I do? Let's just have a look. Here we are. Let's see. Oh, and good evening. No, we don't want that. Okay, so there's quite a few of you coming on, which is lovely. Let's just put this down here so that hopefully I shall be able to see. Nope. Perhaps. Nope. Oh, I can't see any comments on either piece. Never mind. I can see that there's lots of you watching. And in fact, it says Sharon Moon is watching, Sharon Moon is watching, Sharon Moon is watching. So I do believe you're there, Sharon. So it's lovely to see you tonight. I think I'll just say what I need to say. Basically, we always start with the weather these days, don't we? Been lovely and sunny here. I'm afraid I can't ask I can ask what it's been like with you, but I won't be able to see what you tell me. Anyhow, it hasn't been that warm, but we have had decent sunshine. So it's been a lot brighter. And as you'll probably notice, I have put loads more. There's another 9 videos have gone onto YouTube today. But in my searching, I've been searching back to 2020 to see what I can find. And I do believe they're deleting them already. I can't find lots of them. I don't know what I'm looking for, but all I know, considering at that point I was doing 5, 6, 7 videos a week, and I only come across half a dozen, I think they've already removed them. So I've actually got loads have gone up there. The sew-alongs have got YouTube links, which is good, which means that everyone that joined into the sew-alongs will still have the link there, so those won't be gone for good. All the mini quilts have gone up in there, all the bags have gone in there, and then lots of other bits and pieces in between. So, hopefully you'll be able to watch them. I know that many of you are watching them because my viewing figures have absolutely gone through the roof, which is fantastic. I am over 1,000 hours viewing at the moment, which I was only around the 700, and, which is really, really good, but I need 3,000. So it does go up every single day. And I think there was something like 50 hours of viewing overnight. So that is really, really good. And I thank you very, very much, because it's all down to you. If you comment on it afterwards or like it, that would be fantastic, because as far as I'm aware, and I keep reading bits and pieces about YouTube, but they, if they see that people are interacting with it, then they push it out towards other people as well, people who may not have subscribed. Now, it is better to subscribe, so you click that little bell and it will give you notifications of whenever there's a new video there, or if I go live, which I am intending to do. So, we shall see what comes. I'm not quite ready. I've got lots of things in mind of what I'm going to be doing and, or what I've got to do. I need to get as many videos as I can popped on there. And also every time I do a Facebook Live one, I need to pop that on there as well. So that that's sort of part of my, my routine or regime of I do a live, I put it onto YouTube, and I've usually got pictures there as well then, rather than searching through my thousands of photos to find a picture to go along with it. Oh, it's a bit of a nightmare, but we'll get round it and we'll just keep doing. So this week, on Thursday, I'm hoping, I put it there, putting myself under some pressure because I haven't made it yet, but I'm going to be doing another sew along in April. Haven't decided on the date yet, but it will be towards the end, although Easter is 2/3 of the way through. So we'll perhaps do it the weekend after, which gives plenty of time for me to get things ready. but I've got a nice bag, not handbag, but a bag stroke pouch, which I think I've shown something similar before. I won't be doing that, but it is similar. So parts of that are, but I'll reveal all on Thursday with that. And then on Friday, I've got a nice little Easter bag that's made a little bit differently. It looks like many other bags that you may have made, but it's made differently and it's really quite nice. So that's what is coming this week. I've also put a poll up regarding the times of when I do my lives. Now, in the early days, I did them at 4:30, but with having the grandchildren, they weren't always collected by that time, but these days they are. So I was just wondering if people would mind doing the 6 o'clock, purely because it just would fit in a little bit better. I wasn't intending going later. That was not the idea. It was to bring it forward a little bit so that we've got more of the evening free and I'm not rushing around so much, because at the minute I tend to be sitting, waiting around thinking, and I haven't got time to do anything apart from upload videos. So, I'll leave that with you, but I will go with the majority. And if you want to stick as it is, then that's what we'll do. But as I say, I won't be putting it back later. So I won't be doing a 7 o'clock or 7:30 start, because that wasn't the idea. Anyhow, tonight, having thought, what shall I do? I've gone through so many things of what I was going to do, but I thought, how about doing some curved seams? So, I've got a couple, I've put some PDFs up in the group. There's 3 of them. One is Joseph's Coat, one is Drunkard's Path, and the other, what's the third one? Oh, I know, I've done a layout, that's right. You've got 2 templates and a layout of how to put together Joseph's Coat, which is rather nice. I'll show you Joseph's Coat, but it's not going to be the first one we do. So this is Joseph's Coat, and you probably think, oh my goodness, all those curved seams, how difficult is that? Well, actually, it's not. And there is a better way. I mean, I just, as I do, went ahead with making, and I have not got a very good centre there, but there is a much better way, which I'm going to show you tonight, of how to put all of those together. Then I'm also going to show you Drunkard's Path, which is that shape block, which can be, when you have lots of these made, they can be put in lots of different orientations, to give like a wiggly line, or a wiggly line, like a camel's hump up and down line, or it could be made into circles, depending on how you put lots of these blocks together. But you have got your curved seam, and don't they fit perfectly? And I'm going to show you how. But what I'm going to start with tonight is just a basic circle, because I know a lot of you find difficulty at times in getting nice smooth curves. So let's have a look. Let's get these out of the way for a moment. And actually, I think I'm going to leave this as it is. So I'm going to bend it down, to the machine. And okay, it is the wrong way round, but I do believe that you will be able to see actually what I'm doing quite easily. Whoops, there we go. Right, so I can see that's, yeah, you can see what I have here. So I'm going to make a circle. So quite often we will cut a circle out, or 2 circles if we're going to do them double-sided, and then we will stitch around the edge of the circle. Now, quite often that circle goes a little bit frilly around the edges, and by far a better way of cutting circles, if you can, is to do it this way. So I'm going to put 2 pieces of fabric right sides together, and then I'm going to draw my circle onto the wrong side of one of the fabrics. Okay, oops, not going down a hole. So we get a perfect circle, like so. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to stitch on that line. And yeah, that'll be all right. That'll be okay. So I'm going to stitch on the line. And now one thing with stitching on a curve is it is much better to use a small stitch, purely because it will give you a much better curve. If you used a longer stitch, as you can imagine, say we used a big stitch here, what you will have around the edge is almost straight lines. And when you turn it through to the right side, you will have like, what is it? A polydecahedron. It will have lots of, like an octagon has lots of straight edges, 8 in fact. It will be far more than that, and you won't get that nice smooth curve. You'll have lots of little points along the edge. So if we turn our stitch length down to, just like the patchwork, 1.8 or 2, and then just stitch on that curve. So on the drawn line, like so. And because we've got a square piece of fabric that we're stitching onto, we haven't got, I've got no line there, so I'm guessing it. We're not going to get frilly edges. So just nice and slowly stitching on that line as much as we can and holding the fabric with our hands just to keep that, or gone off the line a little bit there. And when we get round to where we started, we're going to go over the first 2 or 3 stitches. They are small stitches, so I go over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we are. Okay. So there we have a nice flat piece of fabric. And then I am going to cut about, I'm going to cut more than I'm going to not leave a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to give about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now, you could also cut with pinking shears. One of the other ways of doing it, but is more time consuming, is to clip into all of these edges. But if you cut a very small seam allowance, it saves you having to do that. So here is my 1/8 of an inch. So I'll just get around to this side. Okay. So there we have our, you can just about see the stitches there. So that's small seam allowance. Now, on the odd occasion, you may have to leave a gap here and turn those edges in. It isn't always the easiest to do that. So, and if you can get around it, that you can actually cut a slit. Now, what I may very well do, quite often, you can get away with doing a slit near that outer edge, because quite often we fold it over and that slit can be hidden. Or if it's going to be, let's do a little bit longer than that, so it makes it easy to turn through. It may be that the center is going to be hidden, so you'd cut your hole in the center. So all I've done is turned that through, running my fingers around that inside edge, and then because we've made the slit in that fabric there towards the side, we haven't got an edge to join, to close. But you can see already at how smooth that the edge of that circle looks. Now, am I going to use? Yes, let's use. So let's just get the iron and, oh, okay. I've got a nice little mini iron that I was going to use, but I haven't plugged it in, so we'll get the iron out here. So then, so remember I have used a 1.8 stitch length, which is nice and tiny. And being nice and tiny, that's why I've got that nice curved edge. So always remember to run your, as I've got here, the end of a paintbrush, just run that around. If you've got nice long nails, they will do just as good. And then we can finish that off with the iron. So let's just press that around, and you'll see there what a lovely curved edge we have with no problem at all. So there is our circle, beautiful curved edge, and as simple as that. And that's purely by having a short stitch length, cut the fabric away to 1/8 of an inch from your stitch line, and this is what you get. Nice and quick, nice and easy. Okay, so let's set that one aside. And what we'll do now, we'll do our Dresden plate. So this is what I have here. I've got 4 that I've made already. And what we can do with these, if you want to, this is what I was saying about, you can pop them together in that formation. And what you will have, you will create a circle in the middle. Or what you could do is flip them around so that they are turning. There we go. So they are spinning around. They look like wedges of cheese, don't they? But so they're spinning around in that direction. Or you could put them together in halves so that they are like that. You could add pieces in between. There's all sorts of things you can do. And you can also stagger them so that when you put these together, there we go. And then that would probably go so that you get an undulating line. Now, when I've got more, you'll be able to see how I could put them, where are we? Put them together like that. And then this one goes like this. So you've got like a tube going up and down and around. But we need a few more before we can do that. So how do we get that beautiful curve that on the back looks so special, so easy? So let's pop those away. So with your, here are my pieces. With your piece, you have a wedge piece, and then you have a non-wedge. You have a piece like that. And those two will go together. Now, when you pop it together like that, you'll see that this piece is a lot bigger than that piece. And what you will have, this curve here is a concave curve. This one is a convex curve. So we're going all the way back to school, and we're remembering those curves, convex and concave. Now, if when you're ever putting these pieces together, what you will always want to do is have the concave piece on top. For ease of stitching it together, you want this one to go on top. So when you pop that on the top, obviously that curves away, and the rust one curves the other way. So how is that going to fit? And how are you going to get this evenly spaced around here? So what we're not going to do is just start stitching. What we're going to do first of all is we're going to find the center point here and the center point here. So if we just fold that piece in half, and I'll just nip that to give me a little fold. And then if we fold this one in half also, oh, my voice is going again. All right. We'll give that one a little fold as well. So I've got, you probably can't see, but I will put, because it's going to, I've got a friction pen which will iron out with heat. So you can probably see that now. Let's just see. come in. Oops. Let's come down just a little bit further. Or closer, I should say. There we are. Okay. So here we have our pieces. So we're going to line up right sides together those two little marks. So let's pop that one there. And then I'm going to use a pin. So I'm lining those up perfectly and get my one pin that I have here. And I'm going to put my pin into that point. And then I'm going to move that round and I'm going to make sure that that straight edge lines up perfectly with that straight edge as well. So we don't want it curved like that. We must have that straight edge lined up into that corner. And if you want to pop a pin in there, by all means do. But I'm just going to put that straight under the machine. And I've still got the 1.8 stitch length. And I'll do 2 or 3 stitches because what I'm going to find now, let me just see. I just want to move that across there just so that you can see a little bit closer. So, oops. A seam ripper or an awl is good here. So I'm going to put my finger onto where the pin is and just pull that, so because we will be stitching straight, and then I'm just going to pull that top layer back so that you can see that rust colour underneath here, and I am going to make sure that that edge of the light fabric lines up perfectly with the edge of the rust fabric. So with your seam ripper that I'm using here, we can just hold that down and we can push those bits out the way and just pull that raw edge. There we go. So that's out of, I'm just trying to hold that down so that those raw edges line up absolutely perfectly. And when I get to the pin, I'm going to take that out. And then I'm going to take this edge here, and I usually give that, and I'll do the same when I do Joseph's coat, give it a little pull, because this is a bias edge, and it will stretch just a little bit, but we then want that straight edge to line up perfectly with that straight edge there. So again, pin if you'd like to, or as I do, I just put my finger and hold that down. And then I'm just going to pull this again so that this light edge fabric, I'm lining up these raw edges perfectly and really using that seam ripper does make it very, very easy. And then that folds back. I will press it, but that folds back absolutely beautifully. Okay, so I'll do one more just so that you get the gist of what we are doing. So we'll take our 2 pieces here and we're going to find that center point. So let's just fold that in half, match exactly, and then make a little nail press there, and then fold this one in half also, lining up those ends exactly, and nail press there. Now, I must admit, I have used a die to cut these. So if you have a Sizzix Big Shot or an AccuQuilt system with Drunkards Path dies, makes it so much more quick and easy to cut these out. So there are templates in the group for you to do your own. What I would suggest you do is print it out and pop it onto card so you've got a really solid template. So I've lined those 2 marks up again, and there they are. I'm going to put a pin exactly on that part. Let's just turn this around so that, oh, there's some. There we are. Okay. So I can see comments now. I've turned it around. So now I'm going to line that edge up there and put it under the machine. Just make sure a pin is probably better because it does tend to pull itself backwards away from that corner piece. But I'm just going to hold my finger down a little bit more, do a couple of stitches, and that's held. Use my seam ripper and pull that top fabric so that I can see the rust one underneath. And let's just pull that around so that those raw edges are lined up exactly. And I've got the point just, there we are. The point is just there, holding it in place. I've come to my pin. Now I'm going to take this piece, and remember that little tip of just give it a little pull, and then we can line up that short straight edge there with this corner, and we will just hold that. And then if I tuck that down, and then I'm going to pull the light edge fabric so that it lines up perfectly with the darker fabric all the way around there, keeping that end point totally lined up. And then when we pull that back, again, we have, we'll iron that little pleat out. Just got a tiniest little pleat there, which we didn't want. And there we have our two Drunkards paths done as quickly as that. So on the back, you can either press from the back or the front, but if you make sure that basically this arc shaped one, the quarter of a circle, put the seams together and pushes back. So you can just push that out there and just smooth it around to the other side. And then if you want to go from the front and just give that a nice press. And there you see, now you see it slipped a bit there, so I've got a tiny bit missing, but there we have a nice curve. And then we can do the same for this one also. So just pull that out just a little bit, just so that that is opened out completely, and then press that one back over to the front and give that a press away from the curved seam. So again, you have that perfect curve, which is going to mean that our Drunkard's path is going to be perfect too. So what I was showing you with my other blocks is if you line them up like this, and then this one is going to go, where are we? That goes there, and then that one goes there. When they join together, there we go. You can see there how we're getting that nice undulating curving across. So let me just show you there. There we go. So that's just one of many things that you can do with your Drunkard's path. And then you have circles if you want to have lots of big circles all over there, or you could have the bottom as a circle. You could do it like that. And then this one would go like that. So again, you've still got that curved line, and there will always be a little gap once they are joined together. But that's your Drunkard's path. Quite often people shy away from it because they think it's too difficult, but not really, not at all. So there is your Drunkard's path with your curved seams, and you can see how easy, isn't it? Okay, Pollyann. I know, isn't it just, Beverly? It just fits, even though you could see to begin with that the pieces are not both the same. So, shall we have a little look at Joseph's coat. Now, Joseph's coat, that's going to have a little button in the middle because I don't like that particular one. But I've used the Bluebird fabric range, which I had on offer last week, and it works really, really quite nicely. So what do we start? We only have 2 shapes. We have one of those, and we have one of, let's just have a look. I've got quite a few there. And one, which is the watermelon. Okay, so those are the 2 shapes you need. And basically what you're going to have is one of these shapes. And this is where you could do scrappy. You're raring to give it a go, Janet. Lovely. So you could do it just 2 colours. And your melons could be all exactly the same. But let's just have a look here. Just trying to get another one. So that's what you would be doing. Now, again, I've actually used an AccuQuilt die to cut these, which makes life easy. And with the AccuQuilt die, can you see that little notch? That little notch there, and on here as well. They line up. So it just saves you actually making the halfway point. But you would do exactly the same as I did. Excuse me. Exactly the same as we did with the Drunkard's Path. What we would do is fold it in half, line up those points exactly, and give yourself a little pinch there. Now, as you can see, there's that little notch sticking up. If you didn't have that, this is what you would do. So you've got the little crease there, and we would line that up with one of these. So let me show you just one. Let's just put one on here for the time being. So what we're going to do, again, this is our concave shape, and this one is our convex. So we're always going to have the concave shape on top. And when we line up those little notches or the marks that we've made, you can see I'm going to line them up like so. Make sure they're exactly on top of each other, and always have a pin. Okay, and you can see how the darker shape curves that way and the lighter shape curves that way. So you'll think, or you will know, that you need to line up this end with this end. Now, what you'll see from here, on this big part, on the light fabric, you've got a point there, and halfway across is your 1/4 inch. So if you went right down the middle there, there's a 1/4 inch each side. So that piece is 1/2 inch wide. So we need to line up that part there with the top of our shape, of our darker shape. So if we just twiddle that around, just curve that around so that, and I'll put a pin on here to help, so that that top edge lines up. That straight edge, line that up, and line that up perfectly. Oh, I have got one more pin. Excellent. So let's put our pin in there, and then we can see that this lighter fabric here has got to fit around the darker fabric underneath. So our stitching is going to start from that point just here. So we'll start stitching here, and the edge of your 1/4 inch foot, or the edge of your foot, whichever you're using, lines up with the raw edge here. So let's just pop this down first of all. And we're basically going to do exactly the same as we did with the Dresden. No, not the Dresden, the Drunkard's Path. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that the darker fabric is flat and just pull that little bit straight. Not the easiest to see. Let's see if I can lower that down just a little bit. Okay. So, in actual fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch this around so that it is the right way round. But I'll have to turn. There we are. So you're going to see upwards at the minute. Oops. So take your phone. Okay. There we go. I want you to be able to see this properly. That is there. Okay. That's better. Right, we're the right way round now. And you'll be able to see, hopefully, what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay. There we go. So, I've already started stitching in the top here. And you can see there's the darker fabric underneath, but I want this raw edge to line up the light one. So I'm just sort of pulling that straight, not stretching, I'm just pulling it. And then I'm just going to shift the raw edge of the light fabric out to the edge on top of the darker fabric so that I basically can't see the darker fabric. So let's start stitching. And then with my seam ripper, I'm just pulling that out because the whole way along here, we want this to be lined up properly. And this little pleat bit, that will move out of the way because it's a bit like when you're putting bias binding around an edge, you want the edges to completely line up. So I'm going up to where my pin is, take that out, and then we've got this little bit here. It's starting to curve around. So this edge here, this short edge, again, do that little pull because we've got to take that short edge of the point and line it up with that straight edge there. So let's just pop that down. And again, I'm just going to use my finger to hold it. And then I'm making this light fabric sit on this edge here. So I can just pull that across and my edges line up perfectly, like so. And we'll go all the way down. And I'm keeping my seam ripper there. And when I finish stitching, that's going right out of the point. So you can see just that point I've stitched right down. So that's a solid 1/4 inch the whole way down. And it comes right out of that point there. And then when we turn this back and just roll your nail along that curved edge, we have an easily fitting piece there. So let's just give that a press. So the iron's not hot, but I'll be able to press that out. So no pressing backwards and forwards, but just smooch that around, and you can see how beautiful that curve is too. Okay, so I will do a one that's got 3. So what we will have is, I'm going to make one just like that. So that's one that I did earlier, and you can see all 3 pieces have been joined, all with that lovely, lovely easy curve. So once we put one piece on, well, let's find another piece. So let's do this side now. So I'm going to put this one on here. So again, I'm going to, no, let's put it on this side. Doesn't matter which you do first when you're doing a 3. So I'm going to line up my notch there and definitely put a pin to hold that. And then I'm lining up that straight edge with, well, I'm the wrong way around, aren't I? But that straight edge is going to line up, and you see how that fits there perfectly. But we're going to work from the top. So I didn't cut my selvage there. Never mind. So this top is going to go along there. Okay, pin it if you like. So I've lined that straight edge there, and I'm going to start stitching from the point. Okay, 2 or 3 stitches, and then just pull the light one so that you've got the darker fabric underneath showing, and then just flatten this down, and you see already that is nearly in perfect position. And the more of these you do, it will just work for you easily straight away. So I'm just pulling that fabric over just so that that all lines up. I'm also looking at my foot, making sure it's lined up with the edge. And then here, I'm now lining this. You'll see this, because I've got a seam there. I've just got that straight edge, and the straight edge is going to fit along that straight edge just here. So if I just pull that, line that up, that's lined up perfectly. And then again, you just pull across the lighter fabric with your awl or your seam ripper. Now I know everybody will have a seam ripper, and just carry on stitching. So I'm stitching over the seam, but you can stitch underneath it if you want to. Okay, so there is my second one. Okay, now I might just give that a little press too, because if you press as you go, it actually all fits together so much better. So let's just push that out, and all the way here, just press that out and flatten that down. So we've got 2 sides on there that are looking good, and then we want one more piece that is going to go here. So again, either fold your fabric in half to find that center point, or if you cut little notches, you can line that up perfectly and pop your pin in here. Okay, so again, because we have got a seam here, we've just got a straight edge across the top, which that straight edge is going to join to. But we are going to work from the other side, because we've got our light fabric with our concave edge. So we're going to line this straight edge with that one there. And again, you'll see that your stitch line is going to start right at that point, because you can see that 1/4 inch seam allowance there. So hold that together and do a couple of stitches, and then again just pull that darker fabric underneath out, and then we want the light fabric, so we can either push the darker one underneath, or let's just pull it like that, so that it lines up. Okay, that first little bit is lining up there, and let's just pull that across, and then we'll work from the top again. So I can see my edges are aligned, and again I might just have to pull that one under there. There we are. So we can just grab that little bit of light and pull that over. There we go. Because we want it to line up perfectly, and it's just not play. There we are. That's lined up perfectly now, and over a little bit more up to that pin, and then you can see it's going that way. We need to pull it back so that it lines up with this straight edge here. So little pull, and then place that straight edge along that straight edge at the base there, and you can see that fits perfectly as well. So I just put my finger there, and then again we want to pull the light fabric over, so we can pull that bit under just to get that stitching there, and then just move that little bit out of the way. Just pull this light, either pull the light over the top, there we go, or pull the bottom bit away. And then when I get here, I put my seam ripper onto that point, and you basically stitch to that point again. Okay, so there we have our third part on there. So let's just get our iron again. So as I say, this one isn't, oh no, perhaps I left it on. There we go. So let's just press that and press that out there. But we have, and then on the back, you can see how neat that is also. But the front is what we're after. And that is one with all three sides on it. So we don't, or you could go ahead making lots of these and then add some more, because all we'll do from there, we will get another piece and we will stitch that to there, and we will stitch that to that side of it. So it would just keep growing. But there is a method. There is a method in putting these together. So on the little chart that I have given you on the PDF, what you're going to have, what you're going to need to make, you will need six of these. So the light inner triangular part. You'll need 6 of your melons. Okay, 6 of that. They can be all the same colour or they can be different, but you need 6 of each. And with those, what you're going to do, you're going to make, just like I've shown you, you're going to leave one of these absolutely free. So you want one of those. Is that the one I just made? Yes, it is. We're going to have one that I've just made with all 3 sides filled. And then you're going to have 4 that have just got 2 sides. So 2 sides with one outer side that has no melon on it. And when we put those together, we are going to lay them out like this, 1, 2. So you're putting them so that the 2s will have a melon next to it. So that one is going to go there, melon next to it. Then we're going to have this one here, melon next to it. And then in this space, I'm just going to move that under there. This space here will have the one that is blank, the free one, this one here. So let's just see if you can see that. So it is going to be a lot easier. When I was doing mine, I added one here, then I added this, then I added another melon, and so I kept going all the way around. That's why my center point was not brilliant. So what we're going to do this time instead, I'm going to, I'll leave that one for the moment, but I'm going to do 3. So I'm going to put this one to here, and I'm going to stitch that there. I'm going to take that out of the way, and we'll do that first of all. So similar to before. Oh, I haven't got I must have cut that a little bit short. So let me find my center. So there's my center. So it just shows you don't need, so just check that's where that is going. So I'm going to put my point just there and pin it. And what I did before, I'm going to line that up there, and then I'm going to stitch this one. Whoops, it's just, there we go. So let's just start stitching here. Whoops, if we get it under there we go. My pedal's slipping out of the way. So out with your seam ripper, just to make sure we get all of these seams aligned, these raw edges. And then just pull that a little bit so that we're getting all of this matching the whole way along. Just pull that over, up to the pin, take the pin out, and then this end is going to fit on that end there. It's just 2 straight edges, so they are going to fit nicely. I think my fingers are in the way, but and then just make sure that is opened up, oops, nicely. There we go. Let's just see, there we go. That's it. So make sure that is the right way, and we have our, there we are, those straight edges all lined up. And then we want to make sure that these edges, raw edges, perfectly aligned. And you will notice how perfectly they fit together when, there we go. So that's come together nicely as well. Now, if you remember, that was the next one. So you can see that it is still working correctly. I think I'm going to have one missing off of here, aren't I? Never mind. We can always add that on afterwards. So I'm now going to add this to this. That just there. And I've got my little marks on this one, my little tabs or my notches, which I'm going to line up there. And then I'm going to line this into the center there, and that one, what we want to do is turn that back so that that can be lined up just there and straight under the needle. And then again line this edge just here and pull that edge around there, pin comes out, and then we're going to line this with that point just there. So always, if you remember those little bits where I was saying about lining up the notches, lining up the short straight ends and stitching to those points. Okay, so we have that one done there. I think I'm going to give that just a little, there we are, a little press, because it's once it's pressed, it always looks so much better and lies nice and flat. So let's just move that one there and then over onto that piece. Over there, just give that a little pull so that, oops, and then over onto this one here. Just, oh, there's a mess on the bottom of the iron and I don't want it to mess the fabric. Okay, so we've got that. I've got one missing there. I don't know what I've done there, but then I would just put these back just so that I know. Oh no, that goes that way. I've messed this up a little bit because I'm not getting my my circle now. I didn't look to see what I was doing properly. That's it. So I wanted that is what I want. Oh, that is what I want there. But then I wanted that, this one here, I put that one in the wrong way round. Oh dear, oh dear. But we can add that one on. What I think I need to do, I want one more without, oh, I put 3 on that, didn't I? So let's have a look. What I need here, I'm just going to set that aside because I'm going to make another one. That needs to go there. So it needs one here and one here. So you can see where these need to have. So I need to have a segment on that side. And I need to have a segment on this side here. So if I pin those in place, then I know I've got them on the right side. You did actually want what I've drawn on the diagram, and I've just laid them up wrongly. So where is that pin? There is that pin. Right, let's take that away. Let's move that there. And that one goes there. So let's just do this one. I needed a second one. So let's just line that up. And we'll start stitching here. So, and you'll be able to see, get that one out of the way, that it actually doesn't take very long at all. But you do need to just, oh, I've got myself all the way up now. That's it. I want to have the light fabric on the top because it is so much better to do it that way. Okay, let's just see. So I just lined that up, needle into the point. Okay, and just pull that so that it all lines up. And there we go, we can see that one there. So just pull that out a little bit. So I'm watching the raw edges all the time, just making them line up perfectly. And then this last one here, this end, just pull that to that tip to line it up. And by lining those straight edges, it just gives the absolutely correct curve of the fabric. If you don't get that correct curve, things go a little awry. Okay, so we've got one piece fitted just there, and now we want this other one. So always light fabric on top. So we will pop that just there, starting at that point, and then getting that darker fabric showing. So start stitching, then line those raw edges up. And I think I can remember making one of these a fair while ago now, and it really does make a difference once you get going. When I made my first one and then I sat down to do a few more, it really goes together. You get the bug and you just want to make more. Okay, so that one is coming to that point too. Okay, so I have one of these. So let's just give that a press. There we go. So nice and simple. And the other one will always come in because you can make it grow bigger and bigger. Right, so let's just see. That one is going to go there. And then that one is going to go there. And actually, all we need, 2, 4, 6. That one is going to go just there. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to set that one aside. This one here should have been my full one. That should have been that one. And then I wouldn't have had that missing. So my mistake there. So had we lay it out and have a good look at it rather than what I've done and just rushed ahead. But we can always add another one in there afterwards. So we need to stitch those 3 together now. So this one is going on here. And I'm going to put a pin in that little notch. And at the same time, so that I know I'm getting it in the right place, I'm also going to put a pin, this one, onto this one, because I know that needs to go there as well. So let's just put a pin in there. And actually, because I've got it this way up, I'm going to stitch this one first. So let's just let that flip out of the way. And then I'm going to get that piece up to the top there, line that up, which it does, those 2 straight edges, pop them under the needle, and then just do a couple of stitches just to start it off, and then make sure that your fabric, the raw edges here are all lining up, which they are. And we'll get to that pin and out it comes. Then I'll pull this one round so that that edge lines up there. And then we'll get the lighter fabric lining up here and all the way down to that 1/4 inch point. Okay, so there is that one done. Now we need to do this one here. So let's find that point as well. And then we'll put this up to there. Line that edge up. And again, 1/4 inch. And pull that down. I can see that's going to fit really nicely. Raw edges together. Pin out. And then this one here. Again, just give that a little pull. And we're going to line that at that edge. Finger down. And straight all the way. Okay, so let's just, looks a bit strange, so perhaps I've done it wrong again, but hopefully not. So let's just give it a little press, because that's what we need to do. So let's press that out, and there. Okay, so we've got that pressed. Now that was in that position, and then when we bring the other piece in, that's looking right. So I have got 2 missing here, which I will have to fit in. But what we're going to do now, you can see that gap. We're going to put this one right sides together here. And what we can do is, with our pin, we can actually find that centerpiece, a bit like when we have, there it is, when we have a triangle, that's it. When we have a triangle that is overlapping. So I'm now going to line these up, and let's put that one in there with a pin. And we will just go to the center, because I want to flip it over so that I can, no I don't, I've got my concave edge again. So what we can do is line that up there and start stitching, and then just pull that lighter fabric down so those edges are matching, and we'll just get to the pin in the center and pull that out. And then we need, now we've got this pin in the middle, which is where our center point is. So I'm going to put another pin now, like so, because I know that that is going to fit. So let's pop that under there, the darker one, and then we need to pull back. We want this light fabric to line up with the blue edge as well. So we can just pull from underneath, whoops, and just pull that one over. There we go. And keep pulling that over so that that fits there. And we'll keep that upright. I'm going to take that out now and just look where that is going into the center. And then I'm going to take this piece, and again we do need to, I can take my pin out because I've gone through the center. I'm going to line that notch with this notch here. Where are we? So that is going to fit just there. And then we're going to line that notch just so that that all lines up beautifully, and put my pin in there to hold it, because we need to line up the raw edges under here. Come out just a little bit there. Take that pin out, and then we've got this edge at the top, and all the way around to that end. Okay, not perfect in the center, but not bad. Now the only thing I need to do now is I need to fill those ones in here. So let's just see, let's just give that a press back and press here. Oops. And we've got some, what did I not press there? Could do with a bigger mat, to be honest. That's it. Push that one out. And then just because I didn't lay them out absolutely properly, what I need to have, I'll do that on an ironing board which is bigger and press that out a lot better. And then we can have, what can we have? We can have this one just there. And let's see, I've got one more here. You see, I didn't work that very well because I've got two the same just there. So that one can go just there. So what I'm going to do, I am going to actually do that. So I want my cream on the top, align that notch. And this is where, what I didn't say, you can hand sew this. And to some degree, it is probably easier to hand stitch it than machine sew it. And you can pull your fabrics. That's it. You can keep adding fabrics as you go, whichever fabrics you like. This would be a lovely scrappy project, actually, being Joseph's coat of many colours. There we go. So just pull that over and pull that little bit over there up to the pin, and then again just pull that one down there, and keeping those raw edges all there, and okay, so that's just added in the one which I had missed, and then we can just add this one in as well. So we'll flip that over to the other side, line that pin up, drop it on the floor, hey, and pin in there, and then again just line that straight edge. Everything is there for you to just line up and work with. So it's the same basic technique all the time. Whoops, that didn't go there. We are right. There we go. So again, just push the darker fabric underneath out of the way, because we need to line these edges up, and there we go. Because we are right into a corner there, the needle's not going down. That's it. Let's pull it from underneath. That's better. And that's now lining up, because that's what it's all about, lining up those raw edges, make sure they align perfectly, and then everything will work. That's it. So straight edge at the straight edge, pull this lighter, the triangle piece, in there, don't want to have a little pleat, and then pull that over just a little bit more. Oops. So what we need to do is just pull that, there we are, and everything will work out absolutely fine. So we've all done now. Now let me just, I have got the iron on. What I am going to do is just take that to the bigger ironing board so that I can just press that out. There we go. Just to give that a much flatter appearance than it would be done on that little mat. There we go. Just pull that. The fabric rippling a little bit there. That means I must have just pulled that into it. Okay. So that is what we should have. And just like that. As I say, that is what we should just... There we are. Take it a little bit higher. Whereas the other one, the original one, which I could do exactly the same, I could go around. So that was the one without, which I did first of all. Okay, so that's got the outer edges, which all I need to do is go around and add these in like that. Or, as we've done there, and that could be a lovely centre coaster, circular, make it into a cushion front. Okay. Right. So, let's have a look. Let's see if I turn it around. No. Okay. There we go. So, just for a very quick turnaround. There we are. We're back again. So, I've gone a little bit over tonight, haven't I? Just because, there we are. Yes, so, there is the one we've done tonight. And it is really quite straightforward if you just use those little tips as you go. And there's the one that I did first of all without. Okay, thank you everybody. Dinner is calling. Oh, a little bit over, but never mind. Dinner is calling. And I shall see you on Thursday with hopefully the new sew along. So take a look in the files. The PDFs are there just to give you the shapes to use. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Jill. And just here's the little tips with the video on how you pop it together and how to get those curved seams absolutely perfect. Okay. So I love you and leave you, and I'll see you Thursday. Bye for now.